Hello, wonderful creators. I'm Lynette, and welcome back. Today we're going to be exploring intuitive mark making. Those marks that may not seem important or may just look like scribbles, and they come when we let our inner critic be quiet and we just simply create and allow our hand to move. And there's such freedom in creating without judgment, in letting each mark be exactly what it wants to be. And through this is a great way to discover yourself and also your style. So join me and let's explore those marks. There's something really meditative about repeating a mark, like these curves, over and over. They start to lose their purpose in what I'm doing and start to become just rhythm on the page, creating that pattern. I love watching the paint get lighter on the paper and what the marks look like. Taking paint from the beginning strokes, using it again. And these marks can be like whispers. They're quiet and they're consistent. And as they start to fill the space, I realize this is how we build anything meaningful. Not in one grand gesture, but in hundreds of tiny intentional gestures. We often think progress has to be dramatic, but so much of transformation and creation is slow and quiet and repetitive. And there's a power in that. And as I go over them, balancing them, checking out the composition, the weight, the visual weight of the page. What needs more? I also know that I don't have to rush to the end. There's beauty in the middle of the making as I'm doing this. And I change things up. I grab another brush, larger brush this time. Thinking, I'm not quite sure about the contrast between those marks. Let's soften it a little bit and see what happens. Adding a little bit of texture. How does that look on the page? Each curve has a heartbeat, has a presence, has a breath. And building up on the strokes, the pattern, and the texture, creating less contrast. Sometimes I'll blur it, I'll smudge it. Blurring the clarity on purpose sort of relates to life, that because not everything in life is sharp and defined. Sometimes a little blurry and confusing. And in this one, I'm using a pastel. Just dragging it across the paper, twisting, turning. No destination in mind. I might press a little harder in spots, a little bit lighter. Longer lines, shorter lines. And adding a different tool, a charcoal pencil, a little bit different color. Using the edge of it, creating softness with it, moving it around, just filling the page and seeing what happens. Softening it even more. Just reacting to what's on the page. I've got some soft layers in behind. Let's try a wide brush. Again, same idea of twisting, making marks. A lot of water in this. Letting it flow on the page, seeing if it will relate to the background and soften it a little bit. And I always like to rub it, see what happens to it. This really creates more depth just because of the water is soaked up a little bit more on that other page. Coming back, still using the same color with this. trying rougher lines, sketchy lines, soft lines. We need that. We need that in art. We need it in what we go through in life. If everything was all smooth and soft and went really well, we'd never know that it was smooth and soft and went really well until we have that contrast of when things don't happen as good as we want them to. And every artist, they have a visual library. Their marks, the shapes, the gestures that show up again and again, how their hand moves, how they grip the tool, what they try and do. But you don't find your style by chasing it. You find it by showing up and letting it reveal itself through repetition, play, and trust. And I encourage students to collect their favorite marks and really literally keeping a mark making journal. In it, they have specific mark making pages in their sketchbook or journal. And over time, you'll see that swirl, that flick of the paint, that slash of color, that becomes you. And you don't need to be like anybody else. You already have a signature. This is just your signature using paint. It's just waiting for you to notice it. Because your signature when you write is different than everybody else's. So when you paint, it's going to be the same thing. As this is getting more built up, and I slow down here and I'm noticing, what does this need now? It's just too mushy in the beginning. So we're just going to do something opposite. Let's create some tension, some contrast, and see what straight lines look like across it. Adds a different texture, adds a different look. What happens if I go the other way? And I always like rubbing another paper on the painting and see what I get on that page as well. That's part of intuitive mark making. You don't have to force an ending. You just listen for it, and you watch it, and you look. And this, two different versions. The one on the right, that just happened just because I rubbed it, but it has beautiful texture on it. I love the way that just happened. And this one's really interesting with the lines across it. And that's an invitation for you today, to trust your instincts, to create before you have it all figured out. And I add a little bit of secret asemic writing in what I'm saying in here. Nobody else knows what it is, but I love adding the marks in there. It adds to the story of the painting, even though no one knows exactly what it is. And this one needs something as well. Let's add some more asemic writing to this one. And if you're watching this and thinking, but mine wouldn't look like that, it shouldn't. Let your marks sound like your voice. Your marks are like the conversations you have with yourself when no one's watching. They're imperfect, they're human, they're honest. And what you create, it doesn't need to impress anyone. It just needs to connect you back to you. And in that respect, it will connect with others. And even though these may be practice paintings, I always check them out at the end and crop and frame them. They may turn out to be finished pieces, or they may be wonderful inspirations for what I'm going to do for other paintings. And if this intuitive mark making video resonated with you, I'd love to invite you to join my free art workshop. You'll find the link below. And as well, if you're feeling called to go deeper with your painting or on your creative path, I also offer art instruction and coaching, which you can explore on my website. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below as well, and join my newsletter so you'll always know when something new is unfolding. Thanks for creating with me today. Until next time.